Breaking Down the Law is sponsored by Battleborn Injury Lawyers.
Welcome back. The 2025 Nevada legislative session kicked off in Carson City with a flurry of bills being proposed. Education, housing, elections, health care, and the lottery, just some of the issues that will be debated during the session, which will last until June. The Nevada legislature, as you know, only meets every 2 years. So what are some of the proposed bills that may impact Nevadans? Well, to answer all of that, we have Attorney Matthew Hoffmann with us from Battleborn Injury Lawyers. Thank you so much for joining us. And they have a lot to get through. What are some of the biggest issues?
Yeah, I mean, I looked through and there's hundreds of proposed bills. Most of them won't go anywhere. A couple of them that I identified, one in particular that could be immediate. So it deals with the real IDs. So there's a proposed legislation which I think could pass very quickly, like within the next 2 weeks. It allows you, let's say that you have an ID. It doesn't expire for another couple years, but you want to go to the DMV and get the real ID. This bill would allow you to do it, and they can't charge you for it.
Oh,
now,
okay.
if you have to renew anyway, those charges, et cetera, and you'll convert it to real ID, you can still be charged. But if you just need one, you can go in there. They can't charge you for it, assuming you can get an appointment. But for people that don't know, the real ID, I mean, they gave a 20-year lead time on this.
Yeah.
Homeland Security, and now the deadline's coming May 7th of this year. And if you don't have a real ID, the biggest example is the airport. You can't get through TSA with that ID. You can still use a passport, et cetera. But
that's a headache.
Yeah, exactly. You want to use your Nevada ID card, your driver's license, what have you. This bill will allow you to convert it to real ID free of charge.
Yeah, so a lot of people may not have a passport.
Exactly. So I think that one will pass pretty quickly.
Okay.
And that's a good one. That's good for everybody.
Yeah, so if that passes, it might make sense just to go ahead and get it done because it's free. You don't have to pay for it.
Exactly. You got like 3
That's
months.
a hack.
You got 3 months. Get in there. Go get your ID.
All right, let's talk about elections.
Yeah, so this one's interesting. I think it'll be portrayed as controversial. I don't know that it necessarily is. It's a slight modification to our mail ballot system and the counting. So it all comes from the ideas that I think a lot of us don't like the idea that Florida, which has 8 times as many people, we know the results that night, on election night.
Yeah.
But because of existing law, we don't know until 5 days after, or it's technically 4 days, but they'll announce it 5 days. What this would do is that mail-in ballots would have to be postmarked or received by the last day of early voting, which is 4 days before Election Day. So as long as you get it postmarked by, I think, November 1st, it gets counted, but it has to be received by Election Day, November 5th. And so it's a slight modification. It would make it so that we know exactly what the results are on Election Day. I don't know how, if there's going to be opposition to it. This is a kind of bill that you sometimes see used as leverage. Like if you want us to vote over here, you need to vote with us on this one. So I think it's probably 50-50 on that one.
I wonder what the voters would think, like if we could vote on something like that, because a lot of people do get frustrated, as you know, on election night because they're like, why is it taking so long?
Well, and me as a local and you in the news organization, wouldn't we like to be able to announce our results on election night? So I think there is I think it's popular with the population, but politically, that's politics. They can use it for different leverage and things like that.
Yeah, that's why I always just drop my ballot off at the election office.
Yes.
That's the surest way to make sure they get it.
You got 3-4 weeks of early voting just to get it done.
That too, so you have plenty of time.
Exactly.
Let's talk about transgender athletes. This is something that's always in the headlines. How could it affect us here in Nevada?
Yeah, so I mean, we've seen a lot of states doing this that meet every year. They've had bills to try to clarify and basically prevent males participating in female athletics in particular. So there is a proposed bill that would identify for any public schools or private schools that participate against public schools, both at the high school level and at the collegiate level, that you must identify your male sports and your female sports based upon biological sex at birth. And you cannot allow participation by opposite sex in those sports. It also creates a civil cause of action if, let's say, you're a whistleblower and you report your school and then they do something adverse against you, you can sue them for damages. And then on the university level, we had talked a while back again about the volleyball involving the transgender student at San Jose State. UNR refused to play them.
Right.
They suffered forfeit losses because of it. This bill would allow UNR to sue the governing body, which would be the Mountain West or NCAA, to get an injunction to prevent them from suffering those forfeit losses. Now, President Trump has said he is going to sign an executive order making this the law of the land, that you can't do this. We'll see if that happens. That would certainly have an impact, but if it's done on the state level, that law would survive regardless of whether the executive order is still in action in 4 years, 8 years, et cetera.
Does a transgender person have to report that they are in fact transgendered? Because how would you
Well,
know?
that's
in
where,
some cases, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's where the rub is. But I
Yeah.
think that they just go by birth certificate.
Okay.
What is, because that's what it says in the bill.
Yeah.
What is your sex at birth?
Okay.
And that's what will determine it. And we'll see if there's any litigation around it. Again, I think that issue gets blown up quite a bit in the media as being a big issue. It's less than 1%. It's a very, very small number of people that this actually affects, but it's a political football. So
Yeah.
again, that could be one. It's trade-offs. You want us to vote for this, you need to vote for that. Welcome to politics.
Welcome to politics. All right, and they have a lot more to discuss.
Many more.
We just really, I don't even know if we scratched
Not
the
even
surface.
close.
Yeah, not even scratching it. I mean, you might have to come back and let's talk about
We'll
this
do a
once
2-hour
again.
special.
Right,
Yeah,
because there's
right.
so much to talk about. All right.
Exactly.
Thanks so much, Matt, for always breaking down the law.
got it.
And if you have any legal questions you want Matt to answer, please email us at breakingdownthelaw@news3lv.com.